Come with us as we check out in and around the Denver, Colorado area. We'll take you through Rocky Mountain National Park, show you where to find a moose, take you to the Stanley where the movie The Shining was inspired, in and out of Boulder, Colorado, and then into Denver as we show you the best places to go and check out with your kids, including a place where you can actually see dinosaur footprints. Come along.
Welcome to VO's Travel. Where to go and what to see. With kids.
Our time at Denver, Colorado was part of a 23-day RV road trip. I did make a video all about our entire trip, so check that out. We did Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, Seattle, Washington, the Oregon coast, San Francisco, the Redwoods, Spencer Hot Springs, and Bonneville Salt Flat. And right before Denver, we stopped at Salt Lake City and Park City, Utah. As we drove from Salt Lake City to the Denver, Colorado area, our first stop was Rocky Mountain National Park. What a beautiful place. We did not have time to stay, but we did drive through it, and I'm so glad we did. There are 4 entrances to Rocky Mountain National Park, and this is the park outlined in general. The Grand Lake entrance is the only one on the west side. On the east side, there's Fall River, Beaver Meadows, and Wild Basin. Since we are coming from Utah, we entered at the Grand Lake entrance and headed up Highway 34, which is also known as Trail Ridge Road. It took us to over 12,000 feet elevation as we headed towards Estes Park and out the Beaver Meadows entrance. As we entered the park, we noticed that there had just been a fire. We did stop at the visitor center to get a stamp in our passport book, and they said that there had been a fire last October. The damage was pretty extensive, but it didn't mess up our drive. We did see about half hour once we were inside the park, our first moose. It was so cool to just pull off the side of the road and watch him play in the water. That was one of the highlights of our trip. We did continue on Trail Ridge Road, and like I said earlier, it took us to over 12,000 feet in elevation. There were no guardrails, and I do have a little bit of a fear of heights, but I survived and the views were spectacular. I highly recommend this drive. As we exited the park in Estes Park, we stopped at the Stanley. The Stanley is where Stephen King stayed and was inspired to make the movie The Shining. And it's also where part of Dumb and Dumber was filmed, and we definitely did some recreations. Stay around to check those out.
The Stanley Hotel.
And yes, you might notice her dress. I did get a replica from The Shining. Which reminds me, check out my video from Yosemite because that has the actual hotel from the scenes inside The Shining. Do you know what was filmed here?
Dumb and Dumber.
Yep. And who stayed here and got inspired for The Shining?
Stephen King.
You are free to go in the lobby and check out the hotel even if you don't have a room reserved. It's beautiful. And make sure you go out back too because there's beautiful gardens to walk around in. So check that out too. Back inside and down in the basement of the hotel, they do have a little museum area. They even have the typewriter from The Shining. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. They also have other mementos from other movies filmed there as well, just like Dumb and Dumber. And now to our recreations.
No way!
Make sure you go inside and check out the bar in the Stanley. It still has that poster from this movie.
No way!
There you go. 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 There you go.
I was a little upset with myself that I didn't recreate those costumes. Now back to the movie The Shining. There is a hedge maze in the front of the hotel in that movie. This is not the original one, but the Stanley did put a hedge maze of its own in the front of its property. It is fun for the kids to run around in and play hide and seek. It is not as tall as the one in the movie, but it's cool nonetheless. About a 45-minute drive from the Stanley is Boulder, Colorado. And Pearl Street Mall is where you want to be. There's all kinds of shops, restaurants, dessert places, and tons of street performers. You could easily spend a couple hours walking up and down Pearl Street. One thing that came highly recommended by my cousin Emily, what up Emily, was the Chautauqua Trail. It's a 1.2 mile hike that takes about 45 minutes. She said kids can do it even though it is rated moderate. Just a 30-minute drive from Boulder is Denver, Colorado. I wish we had more time to stay there, but the first place we went was Rock Amphitheater. It is an outdoor concert venue and it is absolutely gorgeous. It is open and free to the public all day every day, unless there's a concert that evening. On those days you have to leave by 3 p.m. Make sure you do go to the museum there. It is in the basement, and there's lots of really cool things to check out. We spent about an hour walking around there. Another really cool place in Denver is Dinosaur Ridge, and it's just across the street from the amphitheater. They have a museum, a really cool gift shop, and you can actually go in and see real-life dinosaur footprints. They also offer a 1-mile hike up and over a little bit of a hill. where you can see dinosaur footprints in nature. It is free of charge, but if you do want to take a shuttle up there, that does cost a little bit. And the shuttle might be worth it because the hike does have a little bit of an elevation climb. We unfortunately didn't choose to do that because we didn't have much time, but we did have time for a little bit of sleuthing with our boys. They found some really cool gems and rocks to take home. We really wish we had more time to spend in Denver. It was such a beautiful place, but this was ending our 23-day road trip, and we were just eager to get out of our RV and into a hotel. Thank you so much for coming along with us, and as always, I hope that you remember to choose joy and take all of the pictures.